fix anything in
On
this.
Ford Drive.
Yes,
Okay.
and I was there at one point.
Right, I always kids come on. You see them to the wind.
Oh, I know.
Okay, it's 5:30, so let's go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order at 5:30. Brian, can we get a roll call, please?
Mac Rankin, Ben Metzger,
Here.
Eric Christensen,
Here.
Ryan Werling, Sue Wilson,
Here.
Jeanette Campbell,
Here.
Brady Dar.
Here. Okay, so we need an approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, Eric made the motion,
Second.
seconded by Ben. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Any board member reports or any updates or any information you guys want to share? It's summer, it's warm.
It is.
Our baseball team is doing well, moving on.
Yep, they play Wednesday night here.
Softball.
Softball lost.
Okay. I know we have show choir in full swing for camps and all that good stuff, so. Awesome. Okay, public comment time. So, Molly?
Good evening, my name is Molly Regala, and I'm a parent of 2 students currently enrolled in Indianola Community School District. I respectfully request that my comments, together with the memorandum I sent by email prior to tonight, be accepted for inclusion in the official record of tonight's meeting. My comments concern the board's governance responsibility under Board Policy 209 and the proposed first reading of Regulation 50601R1. Before I continue, I want to be transparent that I currently have a formal records amendment request pending under Regulation 50601R1, and that request remains unresolved. I'm not asking the board to intervene in that matter. I've intentionally followed the regulation exactly as written because board involvement is the final step in the process established by this board. I mention it only because the board is now being asked to consider revisions to the very regulation governing an active unresolved request. Over the weekend, I reviewed the official board records surrounding prior consideration of Policy 50601 and Regulation 50601R1, including board agendas, policy committee minutes, board meeting recordings, and subsequent correspondence regarding the current proposal. That chronology, together with supporting exhibits, is contained in the memorandum I have submitted. That review revealed an important governance concern. The February board action was presented as an annual review. The July agenda describes the proposal as suggested updates aligned with current mandates and wording. After seeking clarification, I was informed through correspondence that the revisions involved IASB recommendations and then wording updates, and that the mandated legal citation updates were approved in February. Those explanations may all be accurate. The problem is that the official record does not explain which explanation applies to which proposed revision or how those explanations relate to one another. The memorandum also documents that the June 25th Policy Committee minutes specifically identify several proposed revisions by policy number and describe the nature of those revisions. However, Regulation 50601R1 is not specifically identified, nor do the publicly available minutes reflect the revisions now before the board tonight. If those revisions were considered by the policy committee, that consideration is simply not apparent from the official record. I also recognize that chronology alone does not establish the reason for the proposed revisions. However, chronology does matter. When a regulation undergoes what was presented to the board as an annual review in February, a formal records amendment request under the same regulation is submitted in May, and additional revisions are proposed in July while the request remains unresolved, the timing reasonably raises questions. Those questions are not answered by speculation, they are answered by transparency. One proposed revision illustrates why this matters. The current regulation requires that a records amendment hearing be held within 45 calendar days and that a written decision be issued within 10 calendar days. The proposed revision removes those objective timelines and replaces them with subjective standards of a reasonable time and a reasonable period while maintaining the existing 10-day appeal deadlines for parents and eligible students. Whether that change is legally required, recommended by IASB, or proposed through local administrative discretion is exactly the type of information the board should understand before taking action. Objective timelines provide certainty, accountability, and predictability. Families, particularly those navigating special education, rely on those timelines because educational decisions cannot simply be put on hold while disputes remain unresolved. Educational records influence evaluations, IEP development, placement, transition planning, and the services a student receives. Delayed resolution can mean delayed services, missed educational opportunities, and decisions being made without an accurate educational record. Replacing objective timelines with subjective standards is a substantial policy decision that deserves thoughtful consideration before the board acts. Board Policy 209 places policy governance in the hands of the board. As elected officials, your responsibility is not simply to vote, it is to exercise informed, independent judgment. Independent judgment is only meaningful when it is informed, and informed judgment requires more than proposed language. It requires understanding why those revisions are being proposed before the board is asked to act. Accordingly, I respectfully request that the board postpone action on the proposed first reading of Regulation 50601 R1 until the official record clearly identifies the basis for each proposed revision, the authority supporting each revision, the manner in which those revisions progress through the policy review process, and the supporting documentation has been provided to both the board and the public for meaningful review. Transparency is not measured by how much information is eventually provided. It is measured by whether the board and the public have the information necessary to understand what they are being asked to approve before action is taken. If additional explanation is necessary after questions are asked, then additional explanation was necessary before the board was asked to act. A first reading should be the beginning of informed deliberation, not the beginning of informed explanation. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. Anyone else? No? Okay. Let's move on to the consent agenda. We need a motion and then a second and then a discussion. I know that there's been some concerns and maybe more education that we need on the Donovan group. So
I did, yeah, at your tables, there is a list of services that the Donovan Group does provide, and then the highlighted ones are the ones that we've used since I've been here. I'm not sure about if in the past you've used community engagement, referendum support, or professional development, but we have used those other ones that are highlighted. And then they also did develop work to develop the branding guide that we currently use and utilize.
So I know that there's, we can pull that item and approve the consent agenda and then come back and talk about that item if we want to, or what we want moving forward with communication to the community. So that is an option. I'll leave it up to you guys to.
Yeah, you just want to pull it and we'll discuss it here later.
Yeah. So we'll pull the Donovan group to talk after. So I will still need a motion in a second.
I'll make a
to
motion
discuss the rest. Okay.
to approve the consent agenda with the removal.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 6-0. Okay. Back to the Donovan group. I know that we've been working for years now to see how do we get our students more engaged in social media, in some of these things that are real life skills, experience. We know we've seen schools around that pull in students to do maybe some not podcasting, what is it? They like help call the games, or they help do social media posts or whatever. Yes, sportscasting. So I have no idea what the interest in our students is on this. So if anyone wants to speak on that, or thoughts of this and what it covers, and I think too, like, the Donovan Group came into service under Superintendent Inns when we really needed a form of communication to our community. We were having our own staff try to come through with Facebook posts, and but it just wasn't timely. They didn't look professional. And so that's kind of the history. They came in and within a week was able to develop things very quickly for us. We noticed they were able to work through the crisis situations if we needed anything out there. So that's kind of the history of why we started it, because we don't really have a marketing department, right? We have no one that was really, that falls under what they do full-time for the branding, the marketing, the social media. And so we felt we were at a time with the district, especially going into the high school project, where we really needed someone to communicate effectively to the community. And so that's kind of a little bit of the history with it. But I don't know that there's ever been board conversation on what does it all entail? What are they all doing for us? And is there guidelines that we'd like to put in place, or are there different branding, different styles? I have no idea. Ray knows, technology is not Sue Wilson's thing, so.
Well, and I think too, like, with just the letter here, and even with the listing of services we're receiving, do we have any idea of about like how many hours they're spending on our district's work, roughly a week? Is this price similar to what we were committed to last year?
It did not change.
It did not.
It did not change. And that, the only thing that they've added this year that we didn't have access to last year is an updated video. So if you go on our Facebook page, you'll see there's a video done. And I'm gonna guess it was probably the 23-24 school year. But they will update that video for us, especially with the new project coming to completion. They'll come in and do some videos. The other thing that they did last year at our request was they came and took video or shots of all of our school buildings. They took some action shots so that they have those to use in some of our posts. So if you'll notice, they used to be a lot of clip art type things, whereas now they're using more of our students, our staff in some of the posts. Not all of them, but in a lot of them.
And a lot of the content is being sent from teachers.
Right. It
To the
comes
Donovan
yep.
Group.
And then if they wanted to do, a bigger press release or more in-depth, then Vanessa, who is our contact, she will contact the teacher, ask additional questions, ask follow-up things to post along with the information. They do all of our enrollment promotions, from developing the documents to the posters to social media splashes. They do all of that development and splash that out, and they schedule it. I get Thursday or Friday, hey, here's what's scheduled, is there anything that we need to adjust, is there anything that we want to change before it goes out, and then they schedule that for us and post it.
And that's a flat rate per month, is that right?
It's a flat rate per month.
So what's the monthly amount? The monthly amount isn't 42,000.
3,500.
Yes, I wonder, are there other packages potentially where they still do some of the things that are needed, but our district could do some? I guess I've expressed this for several years. Like, I would really like to see, the example I always use is Bondurant. It's called Blue Jay Digital. It's done by their students through a class with supervision from a teacher, and the content they put out is awesome. It's eye-catching. And, I think when I was just, if you think I wasn't paying attention, I was on my phone looking at other schools really quick, and I just feel like looks kind of generic, like it's been made on Canva and like doesn't stand out at times. And I feel like we have an opportunity with, you know, kids in the high school are uber talented and they know this stuff better than any of us. Trust me, I have teenagers at home that can put together these Instagram reels like lickety split. So I just think we have the talent in-house. And I go back to like, who better to tell our story than the people who are actually here seeing it? Like, I think sometimes there's a disconnect between some corporate entity and the people who are actually here. And like, I know they've gotten better, but I literally laughed at one of the posts that was like stock children from like some 1980s J.C. Penney's magazine or something. Like they were obviously not our students, and we had them on the website. So
Yeah.
I guess my stance is like, I know there's some things they do well for us. I just wonder if like there's a way we can vary the package or the services we get from them, and then use it as an opportunity to create something at our school that create something
I think
more.
my struggle is too, I don't know what all they're doing that isn't so visible. Like some of these types of communications, I don't know what they have their hands in, you know what I mean?
And that's purposeful, right? Because they're
Right.
doing it for us. It's, so it
Right.
should look like it should be ours and not marketed the Donovan Group, right? I mean, so that is purposeful.
Right.
But if you want me to get some examples, we can certainly pull some.
And I think probably one thing we need to look at over the next couple months too is, are the students interested and who are they? Right? Because some of them that do amazing work might just want to do it for one team or right like that, you know, and so I don't, this is a year contract right now.
And this is the first contract that we've had with them, correct? Because in the past, it was just monthly?
Well, it's by month. So last year we approved one, but we just pay it by month. So here's the monthly fee and we just pay it by month. But it's a year contract broken down by this is your monthly fee.
See, and I think originally when we started that, there was not a contract. It was just, we're gonna try this out and go for a month at the $3,500 mark.
Could that have been when you first brought them on?
Yes.
So, because I know when we brought them on in Esterville, that was the way it was for the first, I think it was like 6 months, because we were in the middle of the year. It was just monthly, there's no contract, and then July 1 came, and then we were on for a year on there, so. Potentially.
I think I'm hearing kind of maybe almost two separate conversations. I don't think everyone is super impressed with the social media aspect of what we're being provided maybe, because it doesn't feel necessarily personal and authentic. But also, perhaps it's this, like, when are we evaluating or giving them any sort of feedback about what's really going on? So are we also collecting, like, internally, do people like ease of use with Donovan Group?
Did they say it again?
Like ease of use, I know you've said before, like they're great about responding really quickly, but do teachers interact with them directly?
Yes.
And they like that interface?
And principals do. If they send it to me, I send it off, hey, here's Vanessa, work with Brady, and, you know, any questions that you might have, work directly with Brady to bridge that gap for those that send it to me first, but put it back with the teachers, because I want them to work right with them.
And so we have a mechanism in place for like collecting satisfaction levels with Donovan Group from people within?
I don't know, we haven't set out, hey, how satisfied are you with them? No, I
Okay.
did not send that out to them.
Because I think that's part of what I would be curious about too, is
Have you used it? How easy is it to use? How easy is it to submit?
yes.
So
How did we decide on Donovan Group? I mean, I've
Oh.
not been here when it.
that's what I had said earlier with, under President Inns, when we needed a form of communication.
He
And so-
recommended it? And
Yeah,
that
they
was-
came in and they did a good job.
Okay.
And they did a really good job, and so.
Did it start with the branding? Because I think branding went out to bid, right? There were maybe 3 or 4 companies involved.
Yeah, and it went out to just, we need a better way of communicating.
Okay.
Well, this was also during the transition when our former HR director left.
Correct. We
We
literally,
needed somebody.
Superintendent Inns was literally trying to run our schools and create our Facebook post and respond to messages on social media, and it was a lot. And so, yeah. So how are we able to move this to one of our work sessions? And
And do we have the time? Because this letter's dated June 9th, and
It came right after last month's board meeting, so that's why it went on.
we have like 30 days.
I can ask, I'll just text Sherry.
And
We
it
can
is,
postpone it.
it is a year, or can we go to quarterly? And look at how our students can step into this space a little bit more to give them real life experience?
Yeah, because, and this is kind of going beyond the Donovan group, but I think it's an appropriate time to mention it too. Like, I think we're missing the boat. We're behind the curve on live streaming.
Oh, for sure.
Big time. If you look at other schools, their live streams are legit. Like, I just watched a baseball game from another school that looked like it was a professional production. I just think in this day and age, like, we should be able to live stream all of our sports. Like, eighth grade football last year, Ames has this really cool YouTube channel that is put on by their middle schoolers, and 2 middle school kids did the color and the play-by-play of the 8th grade building. They brought their equipment to here and broadcasted it on YouTube. It was awesome. These kids were awesome.
That's not,
This is different.
that's a separate, but I agree with you
It's a separate thing, but
that-
it's along the same lines where I
Yeah.
think we have the in-house talent, and it just, like, I think my son plays baseball, there's like 2 or 3 kids who are really involved in photos and Instagram and stuff like that, and they're constantly there snapping pictures, and I was just looking at their stuff. Like, it's eye-catching, like, on our school website, like, and it doesn't have to be sports, it can be musical or whatever. If we're announcing it on the website, it's like this really, like, Canva-looking thing. But then the students was like game day, and I'm like, oh, there's Leah Graham. I know her. I'm gonna stop and look at this, and oh, they play tonight. It just pops out at you. It's
So-
personal.
So what if we hear back, but would you guys feel comfortable moving this to a work session where we can see a little bit more what are options for live streaming? What would be the classes at the high school that we would be tapping into for this? You know, and do a
And
little
some
bit
of
more.
that, we're gonna
research.
need a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Right, because that's a whole curriculum, that's a whole nother level of what we don't currently have in place.
And recognizing that any social media presence you have is your face to the public, and that is our way of attracting families and lots of other things. You want it to be professional and all of those things too. But I think, I don't wanna undersell what Donovan Group is doing in that these are complex, like, time-demanding tasks. I'm sure this is a very big job. I just want to feel like we're being informed consumers and that we're collecting information on, are people satisfied with what they're getting, since it's a, we have a large budget, but it's a fairly large amount we're spending a year on them, and I just want to make sure we're investing wisely.
One, I can have them pull pre-Donovan Group usage on social media sites to post. I know they have commented many times that it goes up, and it's even more so when you have students in the pictures and, things like that. But we can get that too and just see what that is. I just asked him, if we can get a 30-day extension on there and then just kind of see where we want to go in August on there. I don't want to stop using them necessarily right now because we don't have a system in place.
We've got the high school.
Right.
Well, like I said, I think there's important things they do. I just wonder if there's a scaled back package they could offer us and, handle the press releases, strategic communications, things like that. And then the school can become more involved in the social media / social media marketing aspect of it, because they know what, they're just here, they know.
So this is me totally brainstorming, so sorry, everybody inside my brain, it's scary. Do they take like student interns? Would they like team up with some of our students and help? You know what I'm saying? Like, would they, if we've got 4 kids really interested, would they help mentor them into graphic design, branding, social media? So it's them doing it, but they've also got, because we don't have that in curriculum right now, so.
I think the talent's there, we just need a little oversight just to make sure that before the publish button is pressed, that it's appropriate and professional enough. But I think that the talent already exists.
I would,
More than a little oversight from teenagers.
I would expect that we've already got teachers on staff that have some of this background, whether it's digital communications, journalism, whatever. And so I would make that our first stop as far as mentoring these kids. And I think the experience, I mean, at a professional organization like the Donovan Group, working with high school, it might be good for some exposure, but I think our teachers are probably better equipped to do some of that, in my opinion. At least I think that should be our first stop.
So contingency, if you find out that we can't wait until a work session, then what? Because I also don't think we can go without something.
I would like to recommend that you approve them for a year and say, hey, come back to us with a plan. Like, what is the best plan? Because it's gonna take a while to get staff input, it's gonna take a while to develop students or find out what students are. I do not want to drop a bombshell on staff in August and say, hey, guess what, you get to take this over, who wants to do it? When they're thinking about getting their classrooms ready and the curriculum that they're already doing. I just jotted down, I think we could have social media ambassadors, right? We could develop something that says, hey, who's interested in helping us create or going out and finding some of the stories to work with the Donovan Group on? Because they can help submit some of that too, not just our staff. But then there's still that oversight for branding purposes, alignment purposes, things like that. That would be my recommendation. I think the conversations are great. I think we should absolutely have those conversations. But not just drop the ball and say, okay, now we're gonna move to a completely different without a plan in place.
I think that's fair. I think as long as we're working within that year towards the plan, and I think that's sufficient time. And along the lines too, I would like to maybe emphasize a focus on, the technologies there to be able to live stream our events better. I mean, there's all sorts of reasons why somebody might want to watch it. You have a relative out of state, you have 2 kids in various activities for whatever reason. And two, that's just, so many schools, you get on the internet and check it out, so many schools do it so well. And I think what, Brady said is it ultimately is a advertisement piece to our district. We want to put the Donovan Group back in the consent agenda then?
You have to do a motion.
You just do a motion.
Okay, are you good with?
Yeah. I think if we're,
Working towards it?
thinking about alternatives, or at least looking at other packages or supplementing.
I will make a motion then to approve the 1-year contract with the Donovan Group.
And then I'm just gonna make a note I'm sorry, do you want to take a vote?
I have done discussion.
No,
No, just go right to vote. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries 6-0.
I will make a note to just remind us in March that this is coming up. Here's our plan, here's kind of what we're doing. I'm assuming we're gonna talk about it prior to that, but by March, just because this year was added because it was an annual renewal, just something we've already done. But we'll make a note to do it in March next year, to start thinking about what we wanna do. Are there any other packages? How are we gonna integrate kids into that?
Yeah, I think we could even maybe start some of those conversations earlier with staff and.
Yeah, just to bring back here. Yes, I agree. You know, what is
Probably
our
get it
plan?
on
Work
a
ahead
movie.
and see what
Yeah.
what the buy-in is.
Yeah.
Is there potential there, or is it a non-starter?
Well, and we can actually look further in the meeting at our calendar and see also whether we want to put it on as a work session. And then we can do some work behind the scenes for that. Okay, thank you for all the good conversation. Thank you for your recommendation, Tara. Okay, board committee reports. Finance.
Oh, we met almost a month ago at this point. Two topics of conversation in the finance committee meeting were extended warranties and equipment breakdown insurance policies. The biggest question for the committee was, are we double covering things with these two different types of insurance that we have? And I think the answer was kind of yes, maybe, sort of.
Exactly.
So Brian is working on getting some information for us to revisit the conversation at a later finance committee meeting, but it did look like there was potential for us to save a little bit of money on maybe being a little bit more selective on what we purchase extended warranties on and what we don't, and what equipment is covered in the breakdown insurance. Questions?
Another monthly financials.
What you're seeing there is the end of June of financial reports. These are pre-journal entries, pre-accrual entries. So this is very rough of what it will actually end up being at the end of the year once all those are posted to the accounts. So all our accrued, some of our accrued revenues will show up in there as well as accrued payroll is obviously the biggest one for the general fund. But I don't think there's any real surprises in where we're going to end up for the year.
Make a motion to approve the financial reports as presented.
Second.
Mac made the motion, Eric seconded. Any other questions, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Human resource report.
Ben, Sue, and I met with Superintendent Paul and HR Director Royer and SBO Vince on the 18th of June. And we talked about really two things in that meeting as well. Talked about open positions from across the district, teachers, associates, coaches, and other positions. There are, or were, I guess, at the time, if anything's changed, 2 open special education positions at the high school. But there was a long list of new hires pending board licensures from the state that we approved a little bit ago. So that was exciting. The other topic that we discussed was the principal opening at Emerson and kind of what that may ultimately end up looking like. And since that meeting, we have made a couple more transitions across the district and got some people hired. So that information is kind of outdated at this point.
Moving fast.
Any other questions for HR? Policy. I guess you're on.
Should I just do this one too?
Ryan's gone.
I'll give you a break.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
talked about more than two things in policy.
Yes, we did. I think the headline for this meeting was just a lot of changes coming through related to recent legislation and recommended changes there for us to be, in order for us to be compliant with the legislation that passed recently. And so I think, Superintendent Paul, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think part of our goal here is that we want to make sure that we are compliant at the start of the school year.
Correct.
With this legislation, and so that's part of why we're, on some of these, we're waiving a second reading and trying to make sure that those things are in place. But again, that was the big headline, just a lot of these were just changes to the, align with the wording that was in the legislation and the requirements.
And I think right after I said, hey, just beware, there's gonna be another big update that's coming. And I think that afternoon, we got the update from ISB with all the revised policies and things. So those will be coming in August to the committee to review. So along those lines, I sent out to our policy committee the newest 50311. If you remember, over the last few months, we've been talking about the disruptive behavior policy and the legislation that has come through. We got the IASB policy late last week. And so because Irving is already in session and our board meeting is really close to the start of the school year, I am asking that we waive the second reading of 50311. And this is just the legislative language put into policy, and it's new in there, so we don't have a policy that it replaces, we don't have a policy that's being revised due to this. From these, once these are in place by the board, then we have to start writing our building level procedures, which we got the checklist yesterday, or on Friday. We got the checklist of here are all the things that we have to do because these policies are now in place. So this kicks off that process on Thursday. We meet with all of our directors and administrators, and we'll start that process and that checklist and going through that. So, and then the second reading, those are the policies that were presented last month for you to review and reflect on over this month. So if you don't have any suggestions or questions on those are presented in final form, unless you have changes. And then the first reading is presented to the board for you to review over the month and ask any questions that you might have with those in there. The first reading is what our policy committee reviewed on there.
So we have three motions.
Yeah, 3 separate motions, please.
So the first motion is the consideration of waiving the second reading and the approval of the new disruptive behavior policy and regulations.
So, just want to call out a couple things. I think Molly's raised some good points there. I feel like there's maybe some additional discussion warranted on the 50601R1. Given that we've got, we want to be compliant with the legislation, what I'd like to see is that I would support approving that so that we're compliant, but then I want to see us circle back to that at the next, at a future, the next available policy meeting. But with that in mind, then I'd make a motion to approve the waiving the second reading on the identified policies.
For a second, Eric, if you're open to it, I would be willing to have a policy committee meeting in July to do that, just in case we need to make a change and do anything before the beginning of the year. And I'm sure that Ryan would be okay with that as well. So with that, I'll make a second.
Okay. Max, second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Second is your consideration of approval of the policies under the second reading.
Make a motion to approve the policies under the second reading.
further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. And last one is the consideration of approval for the first reading of presented policies.
I will also make a motion with the same understanding that 506 will be reviewed either in July or in August as presented.
So do you want to pull 506 or do you?
I just want to review them again. We can
We're
approve the first
approving
reading,
now.
but I want to dive into them a little
Got
deeper.
it, got it.
Second.
Any other discussion?
So you're saying you would like to have another small policy meeting before we would look at it for a second reading?
For the second reading.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Okay, thank you, policy. I know that a lot comes our way after legislation and keeping on top of all that. So, thank you. Thank you, Molly, for your comments, so we can go back and review those policies. Items for discussion.
Jerry did just say if we needed that time, we've already taken action. I
Okay.
can tell him that he would have given us that 30 days, but
Okay.
since we've already taken action. But I will connect with him tomorrow.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So items for discussion. First, the consideration of a student success coordinator position.
Yes, so this is one that has been shared with you, and I've sort of put it in Jamie's court now. that she's-
Welcome.
Welcome. She's doing some work on this and just some planning ahead. But again, this would work with those 7th through 9th graders who have been identified in the early warning system as not being as successful as we like at Tier 1 or even our baseline Tier 2 entry level into that, that the supports just aren't there, the intense supports that they might need to make those transition grades more successful for them. This would be between the middle school and the high school. We did meet with our administrative team, and they're very supportive of it. They do like that idea of that transition to 9th grade. They think it's a big job, and I would agree, but we have to start someplace in helping those students become a little more successful in there. So, what questions might you have? There is a proposed job description attached, as well as that alternative ed plan and timeline, so it's not just for 1 year, but multiple years, and what our goals are over those years.
I think for me, one of the big things was looking at the budget and trying to figure out, where do we really see the most success with our students, and what are the positions that we really do need. And, obviously with the unfortunate events that we've had at the middle school in the last several months, it was important to not only the board but the staff to have the appropriate leadership structure at the middle school. And coincidentally enough, as soon as we got a plan in place, things changed again. But that funding that we had set aside for that position then became available again. And being able to really move that money into a position like this, I think is going to put us in a really good spot, specifically in that awkward middle school aged years for a lot of kids. So I'm excited about this position, and really seeing how both of you guys, to the three of you guys really, can help facilitate some good growth for our students with this position.
The strengthen family, kind of that holistic outlook.
Well, and trying to find the resource, like for me, it's just trying to find the people who have the time to dedicate to that, right? We know it's important. We know that helping parents navigate those really awkward years and struggling years is only going to help the kids be more successful. And so that's part of why that's important. We also want to make sure that this does not become a paper pushing type position, that this
person works directly with kids. They have a caseload of kids that they're responsible for. Not solely responsible for, but checking in, making sure we have the structures in place, being advocates for the students, talking with the teachers, right? What's going wrong? What are the challenges within the classroom so that they can help the kids be more successful within the classroom and stay in the setting. I think the disruptive behavior law we will be a step ahead because of something like this, a position like this. They can sit down and talk with those kids preemptively instead of always being reactive to things.
I'll gladly make a motion to approve the position student success coordinator.
We have a motion. I'll second. Can I second?
I'll second.
No, Eric? My only other question is this something we will post
Tomorrow, but
tomorrow? And do we always have to, are you posting internally or what are you?
both.
Both, okay.
At this point, we will be very hard pressed to move a classroom teacher,
Yes,
a
correct.
general ed classroom teacher or special ed classroom teacher out of the classroom because we would have to replace them. So
Right.
we'll see what we get internally compared to what we get externally.
Okay.
Maybe kind of along related to that. I noticed that the position was education
Yeah.
degree preferred.
Yes.
Were there other types of, I don't know, job experience that you thought might be relevant to this position that you
Mental health,
envisioned? Okay.
behavior strategist, somebody in the social work arena. So we didn't want to just keep it to teaching because they're not a classroom teacher. They could, classroom teachers would be excellent at some of these things, and that experience would help them, but we didn't want to close off bringing out other resources in from the outside that might have varying experiences that could help us.
Do we limit ourselves in any way if they don't have a teaching license with any of these funding streams or anything?
No, because it's at risk, not gen ed, and it kind of depends on what the requirements are. It's important to, if you looked in the job description, it will follow the master contract, but it's not a master contract position, right? So if they come, I think I shared, if they come in with a BA with 5 years of experience, that's how we'll try and place them on that salary schedule. Now, we did add 5 extra days, so we'll have to compensate for that, an extended contract there. But we want them to follow some of the same things that the teachers follow. But we know that restorative practices isn't just an educational philosophy. It's something that everybody can do. It's something practiced within the mental health field as well.
Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. The consideration of the transportation handbook for 2026, 2027.
Yeah, so Ron has submitted the transportation handbook for next year for your consideration. I did link the last 24-25 Classroom on Wheels and updated transportation handbook so you can do a cross-reference there. But I do recommend that you approve the 26-27 transportation handbook as presented by the transportation department. Right, that's last year's. Can you pull up the current one?
Make a motion to approve the 2026-27 transportation handbook.
Second.
Ben made the motion, Eric second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. And the last thing is the consideration of the updated board meeting calendar. This was sent in your packets. This was one of the things that came out of the work session that we all had talked about. And so this is a proposal to, for right now, if we see it works, to kind of stop the committee meetings that we all attend throughout the month and come together in a work session format the first Tuesday and the third Thursday
at 7 a.m. of every month. And as a board can hear the different topics that you can see. So as a board, we're learning about class sizes, not just the curriculum team. As a board, we're learning about the updates that are happening at the high school, not just the facilities team. So we each feel a little bit more educated when people in the community come and ask us, and we don't have to say, well, that's not my committee, so go talk to these board members. So that's what we're trying to do with this new structure. So it would still be 2 mornings a month and then our regular board meeting. But with
Instead of 3.
yes, that's right.
2 instead of 3.
But with the understanding that if we need to go back to a committee meeting for any of the different committees we have, then we can do this. But I think we have a lot of plates in the air, and I think all of us need to kind of understand what's going on the curriculum side, what's going on the special education side, what's going on transportation, nutrition, technology, whatever it may be. So this is just what we had come up with after the work session. So as you can see, it's a draft. So open to anything that you guys, obviously the potential work session topics can change too. Like we could put in the Donovan Group in September if we wanted to, or October. I mean,
The purpose, the layout, so the first Tuesday, because we meet on the second Monday for our regular meeting. So if something comes out that we want to take action on, we're not too far out. Or if something comes out of the board meeting, like the Donovan Group, we have that next Thursday that we're coming together. We can learn about it and then still take action the next month if we wanted to. With this, and I know policy is exciting, but I would propose that instead of, if we went to this, that we would do 3 readings. So you have, everybody gets introduced to the policies, we get a general overview of the policy, you review them, any questions at the second meeting, anything you want to review, anything you want to talk about, anything that wants to be changed, and then action until the 3rd reading of the policy. So it would take 3 readings to go through a policy set in there, if we went to something like this.
and just as a reminder, in work sessions, there can be no motions made, there can be no action taken in a work session. So these are really just informational based, getting us all on the same page, or if we need to discuss something that's coming up, it just provides an opportunity for us to do that. So any motion or action has to take place in the boardroom on that second Monday of every month.
And anything you discuss has to be on the agenda. So it's not a free-for-all open session, it's still a work session on specific agenda items in there.
So just one observation I'll make, right? So we have 6 committees now. My guess is most of those committee meetings run the full hour. And so we're taking 6 hours of meetings and reducing that to 2 hours of meetings. So that's going to necessitate a different way of handling things, right? Where it's sort of, people are going to need to do homework ahead of time. And if there are questions, we'll talk through those, but that's the only way you're going to get through that same amount of material. So I think it will be.
And I think what we heard too, at least in the work session, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that some of those meetings felt like emails, that things could have been done by email. So it might just be, hey, here's the update, not full discussion maybe on there.
Mhm.
But you are
That'll be
correct.
part of
Yep,
it, yeah.
yep, yep.
With the understanding that if we get to December and don't like how this actually, it sounded better on paper than it actually rolls out to be, we have the right to go back to our normal structure that we have. Or if there's a certain division of our school district that needs more attention, then that committee continues to meet and maybe provide updates at the work session.
I like it. I like efficiency, and I think it's important that everybody has all the information. I agree.
So we just need.
I'll make a motion to approve, what are we calling this.
Our updated board meeting calendar.
The updated board meeting calendar
Oh, second.
Okay.
in the name of efficiency.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
So let's not review the board calendar, because I did not update the board calendar.
Okay.
Based on this.
That makes it even better.
Okay.
Hey, I like this, we're getting even
See,
more
efficient.
efficient.
But still no more committee meetings in July.
Correct. Yep, and then I will send the updated calendar out, and then we can link it as well, so.
When's the August meeting? 10th? Is it 10th? 13th.
It is the
10th.
10th, because I think that's sport day, isn't that when everyone comes back?
Yeah.
And that's when Dawn comes back. August 10th.
So, next meeting for everyone is a regular board meeting on the 10th, correct?
Unless we have a policy meeting.
I think we should, if we're okay with doing one in July.
Can we look at this Thursday? I'm at CPI training. Oh, we can do it maybe. 28th, I think. Okay. The other thing, before we adjourn, we're doing something different with the first day of school. So one of the things over the last 2 years that I've recognized is we have a lot of teachers who live here, but we also have a lot that come and go. And so the first day of school, or the first day of teacher in service, instead of doing a big speaker, we are gonna have groups of teachers. This will either be a success or flop, we'll see. But they're gonna formulate their own teams. The teams will create points based on if they have everybody from their own building, they get 0 points. If they have somebody from a different building, they get 10 points or whatever. So encourage them to have a variety of teammates on their team, people they don't necessarily teach with. And then they're going to venture out into the community to experience Indianola. So some of the things will be visiting a coffee shop, taking a picture downtown with the oldest building, just different activities. I'm gathering those things from different community organizations on a bingo board. And then when they come back, we'll have food service is actually wanting to do a lunch for them so that they can practice their serving at the high school, because they're not sure how all of that's going to go. So they're going to provide an optional lunch.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so, and then the community, or City State Bank is going to provide breakfast that morning to kick us off and head out. So they're all going to get shirts, they'll get t-shirts, that's our big expense of this whole thing. But just so that they can realize what we actually have here in town, and that there are a lot of things that we can do right here. So we'll see how it works.
I like it.
So that'll be the morning.
Are there prizes
Yeah.
for the winners?
There will be awards. There won't be any prizes, but there'll be certificates and bragging rights.
That's right.
I think that's a win, Tick.
A lot of social media bragging.
A lot of social media bragging.
I've never been a
yes.
teacher, but there's one thing I know, there's nothing adult professionals dislike more than being put into a large room and listening to a speaker nobody listens to. So I
We have
think
a
that's
tad
a
bit of competitive people in our district,
I think that's a good idea.
So we'll see. Like I said, it'll either be a big success or it might be a flop, but.
I think it's gonna
we'll-
be a success.
We'll try it and see. So.
I don't know, from your teaching.
Last year was excellent, though.
She was very good. She was very good.
You guys were teachers,
I'm always
What is
game
your-
for something new, so
There you
this
go.
just sounds good.
Points for going to a coffee shop is
Yeah.
awesome. And they have to take a selfie with the worker. So,
Pastor John will love
yep.
that. Okay.
That's the chair.
Jeanette?
Oh, all right. I suggest we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Jeanette
I'll
made the
second
motion,
that.
Ben seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion carries 6-0. Yep.